What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it without wasting any time at all. This one comes to us at the request of Ryan Cohen. Hit that like button, you guys. Thank you all for being here. Let's get started. Okay, so sitting at about a $2.15 0.6 price right now. Looking like you're in a nice high and tight consolidation phase, or a bull flag, as some people might call it, or maybe even a pennant. It's kind of got that triangular shape to it, but regardless, definitely a move up, impulsive move up, and a consolidation phase, okay? This consolidation phase, by the way, I'm curious. Hold on, let's just see. From the beginning of your move up, which I think would start here, to the end, that was about there, 28 days. You've been consolidating now for 20. Isn't it crazy? You've been consolidating about as long as it took you to make this move up, and you haven't moved down. I'm just going to say personally, off of this look right here, I think if you were to move down lower, or like sell off, or if this was a blow off top and you were going to reverse, it would have happened already. So since it's safe to assume that it would have happened already, then it's also safe to assume that it's likely not this, which would then imply that this is just a consolidation phase in this overall move up that's going to cascade you up to higher prices, right? So it's like a bull flag potentially, right? And I think that that's a very good kind of assumption to make. I think that will be accurate as time goes on. I do want to say something real quick, that Ryan Cohen, I know you want me to compare XRP to BTC, and we're going to do that in this video, but I just want to do the general price action first before we get into that, okay? So as you're progressing through this pattern, it's very common in any consolidation phase, as you progress through, that your volume dies off. And the reason why is because, think of it like this, right? On your way up, you've got people who are taking profits. All the way up, people are taking profits. You've got people who are FOMOing in. You've got people who took profits down here. They see the price breaking out more, and they're like, damn it, I'm going to buy back. And then they buy higher, right? So you've got people who are selling to people who are FOMOing in. And you've got those same people who FOMO back in at other prices. There's all kinds of reasons for people to get in and get out on moves like this, okay? There's all kinds of reasons. Whenever you have something like this, there's also all kinds of reasons. But with this kind of tight consolidation, most people make their decisions early on, and then some people make their decisions at a midway point on, and then some people are the late bloomers, the late decision makers, right? But everybody makes their decision up here, whether they want to buy. Oftentimes people might buy the highs, or they want to sell. They'll panic and they might sell the lows. But all the sellers, all the buyers for this range have likely been expended. There's not too much more to go, and we can see that in the volume. And that's why most of the time when you consolidate in any kind of consolidation range, you know that it's coming to an end when you have low levels of volume, and you can make sense out of it by the way that I just told you, right? Because everybody's set themselves up for the play. So now we're just waiting for the play, up or down. Where's that, the people that bought, if it were to move down, now they're going to panic sell, right? The people that sold down here, if it moves up, they're going to panic buy. The people that didn't buy or sell, and they just got their eyes on it, they'll FOMO in once it goes up, right? And then people will profit take. There's more reasons for liquidity up or down out of here than there are in this range, and we could see that based on the volume. So likely, all that to say, that very long little expo there is to say that we're getting to the end of this consolidation phase. We're going to pick a side, and I think, again, being that you've been in this consolidation phase basically as long as you took to move up here, I think if you were to move down, you would have done it already. So I think it's just going to be a continuation of this move overall. So to get the next target area, I think it would be pertinent maybe to look at the most relative high, the last cycle high, to the most relative low on a macro basis. Here you are finding support right above that high. Undoubtedly, XRP, you're at $2.15 right now. Undoubtedly, I think your next move would be up to about $4.34, if not as high as $6.41 by the end of January. By the end of January, that's the expectation. That's not even the bull flag, right? If anybody's hearing that and they're like, that's too bullish, you know what kind of market cap XRP would have to see that? I don't care, man, because that's the bullish. The thing is if that's not even crazy bullish. The bullish pattern presented is this bull flag. That's the measure move. The measure move from a low to a high would take us all the way up to 1070. I could say we'll move up to 1070 by the end of January, but to me that sounds too crazy. But the reality is even though it sounds crazy, it's possible. XRP at $2.15 could be worth over $10 by the end of January. I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't bet against it, because again, this bull flag would suggest otherwise. That's literally the measure move. That's how you would do this, and it would take you all the way up above 10 bucks. But again, I don't think that that's going to happen. And also, to be completely fair, it doesn't mean it has to happen by the end of January. Maybe we do get up there, but on our path up there, it takes us some time, and then we're up there by May. We still hit the measure move, but it just took more time, right? Something like that. So I would think by the end of January, something between 434 to 641, 642 is on the table, with potential prospects that are higher than that. I'll give it, but I do think around Trump's inauguration, that's whenever the markets as a whole will probably take a momentary pause, kind of like we have in this month of December. Something that might last, anything from like 3 weeks to 6 weeks, something like that is what I would expect. A little bit of a momentary pause, nothing too intense, maybe a little more intense than what we've seen here, but nothing too intense, nothing like this, right? Nothing like what we saw for Bitcoin here whenever, like whenever we were consolidating for most of this year, nothing like that. So XRP prospects at $4.34 to $6.42. You're at 215 now. These are end of January targets, specifically around the inauguration targets. I like the weekly RSI. I like the 3-day RSI a lot, actually. The daily RSI also looks good, though it kind of wouldn't surprise me if you move down a little bit lower. The 4-hour RSI also suggestive of the same thing, that you could move a little bit lower. So don't be surprised. XRP, you're at $2.15, $2.16. Those higher targets are on the table, even if and when you go lower. You'll probably go as low as like $2. I doubt you even go below $2. You probably, anywhere from like $2 to $2.05. You're at 215 now, so a little bit lower, and then up. And you probably find that low either today or tomorrow, and then up and up from there. But now we're going to compare XRP, not SRP, sorry, XRP to BTC, because that was the main request for this guy, for Ryan Cohen. One last shout out to Ryan, everybody. Let's see. On a monthly basis, maybe 2-month basis. Yeah, hell yeah. I like this because look at this, man. Hold up now, hold on. Is there anything with more historical data? No, Binance. So this wick, first off, we call that a scam wick. It's not to be taken into consideration, right? It exists, it's on the chart, but really it shouldn't. Treat it like it's not there. Treat it like this candle had a wick that was up here, or maybe no wick at all, right? Treat it like it's invisible. If you do that, you've got this nice low range and this nice high range that XRP maintains throughout every bull cycle, it seems. So let's make the easy call, right? Which is that XRP probably goes up to the top side of this range, probably by the end of the cycle, right? And that doesn't mean that that's where its all-time high in prices, but that could mean that's where its price is versus Bitcoin. So XRP, I would say I'm fairly confident in this, what I'm about to say, right? I would say, and let's move the line down even a little bit so it interacts with this high down here. I would say quite confidently that I would expect XRP versus Bitcoin grows another 300%, at least, if not more. 300, it could grow 600%, it could grow more than that, but at least 300%. Okay. Let's use that information and apply that here, and we'll also do some more in-depth analysis, or we'll do more analysis than just what I'm doing here. But this is just my first thing that I'm seeing. We're running with it. Okay, so XRP USD Crypto. We'll look at Bitcoin. So my expectations for Bitcoin by the end of the cycle is that we'll be somewhere around $500,000 by the end of the cycle. My reasoning for that is if we take the all-time high from last cycle to the low, the 2272 is here at 462. Oftentimes we do actually go above the 2272, just above it. So 500K is the nice kind of destination target there. From a high to that price there, that's about 385%. Now here's the thing too. I do just want to say real quick, if we put this back on a monthly basis, Bitcoin here in 2017 topped off in December. XRP in 2017 topped off in January, right? So 1 month later, when Bitcoin's price, by the time it topped off, Bitcoin's price had already started selling off, right? So just keep that in mind, right? Because if we're measuring 300% here, this might be the end target for XRP versus BTC, but that doesn't necessarily reflect in a 300% growth in US dollars. Does that make sense? Does that make any sense? If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Let's just keep going with this. Okay, so BTC, I think, will grow about 385% from here or more. Probably, genuinely, I think it will grow about, let's just say 420. That's nice. Let's do 420. 420% is what I think it'll do, at least for the rest of the cycle. If I think XRP will gain 300% versus Bitcoin, then that would imply an overall like 700% growth for XRP in US dollars. But again, not quite that simple, but kind of. So an overall 700% growth from its current price is just rough math, what we're looking for, right? Would be 313 plus 420. Okay, so 730. Let's just say 730, a little bit higher. Right there. That's an $18 price for XRP by the end of the cycle, and that's what we derive simply off of this. And again, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect science, because again, by the time XRP hits this high, who's to say that it's at its high in US dollars, right? And in fact, Bitcoin itself might be pulling back. It might have already had its high. So by the time Bitcoin has its all-time high and it's pulling back, XRP Bitcoin might be here, and then it keeps growing higher. So then this could be a little bit lower. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I know what I'm saying is true in that respect, in that calculating it and adding it this way, it's simple. It could be true, but likely it's not. Likely you could see something a little bit less, or maybe even something a little bit more, but something probably around there I think is a good guess. If we take an overall high to low, and I'm taking this high specifically to this low specifically because XRP has been in this accumulation range, this consolidation phase for the past 2 cycles, I'm going to take the high to the low of that consolidation phase and project out from there. Here we are at about $18. You are just above 1357, which is your 1414 target. Okay, that could make sense. 533%. That would imply that XRP doesn't, I would think, doesn't quite hit that. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But what also doesn't make sense to me would be XRP stopping in between the 1414 and the 1618. It is common to go a little bit through the 1414. But to get to 18 bucks, that's like right in the middle. That's not as common, but it could happen. I suppose you could wick there and then close below it. Normally, if you were to go to 18 bucks, if you were to be this far away from the 1414, I would just expect you to go all the way up to the 1618. Let's see if we can make sense out of that, right? What if XRP goes all the way up here? What if it sees a 900% growth versus Bitcoin? Bitcoin sees 400% growth, 900, that's 1300% growth overall. I mean, hey, that's about, I mean, we can make sense out of it just like that, right? Maybe XRP makes it to 30 bucks this cycle. It's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible, or I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. Anybody out there who's like, that's impossible, well, we just did the cliff notes, and it's actually very possible, man, that could happen, especially because stopping at 18 was what we made off of the, I would say, safe assumption. But then looking at the fibs, it would just make more sense to me to go to at least to 27 bucks. But just because it would make sense to me doesn't mean it has to happen. You know, there's other things that we can make sense of too. We can take last cycle's high to the cycle low that we had, cycle high to cycle low there, and you can see that here at the 1414, you've got your 200. Look at that, right above and just below, right above the 1414, just below the 1618. You do have this $22 area. Hey. So there are things that line up in just more than one perspective for anything that's like around 1356 to 22 bucks, maybe even higher than that by the end of the cycle for XRP. Okay, so that's what I feel safe with. That's what we have established. I'm going to move on from there. Let's get back to this XRPBTC stuff, right? So kind of an odd chart, kind of very choppy. Where you're at now, I would expect you're finding resistance, obviously. Pretty overbought. Resistance point here. You're just consolidating, man. You're just consolidating. What I would anticipate is that you do have lower to go in this chart. I think that you do. I would expect Bitcoin probably moves up before XRP does. And in that time, you might see XRP lose value versus BTC. It comes down to this 382 to find support. Once it does that, once it's at relative areas of support back in its chart too on the 382 here, a very common thing to do. After it does that, likely you will exceed, you will break out of this resistance point that you've been held under for quite a while. And if you were to break out of that resistance point, the next target area to go to would probably be a retracement based off this overall high to low here. So something around 40577 of a Bitcoin to 40775 of a Bitcoin, maybe even 30106 of a Bitcoin could be a target, right? So in which case, your next breakout move, when it comes time, maybe by the end of January, I would think we see XRP gaining. It probably goes to the 61869. That'd be my guess. If not, at least here, anything from 100% to 355% versus Bitcoin. So let's make sense out of that. 100% to 355% versus Bitcoin. 100%, 355% versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I think by the end of January, will be at like 142K. So that's a 52, let's call it a 50% move up. If XRP were to grow at least to here versus Bitcoin, or let's say back to here, at least like 100%. 100% plus 50%, it's 150%. If XRP was to grow 150% from here by the end of January, I mean, hey, it's kind of pushing it, but it's possible. I think it's possible. Yeah, that's right in the zone that we're looking for. That makes sense. It's nice to see that, right? Pushing it, but definitely possible. Pushing it would be like 640, but you could see that, man. Yeah, that definitely. There's a good case to be made that XRP could be worth over $5, $5.40 even by the end of January. And that to me would make a lot of sense because that's like your resistance point as a previous area of support, previous areas of resistance here. It's not quite at the 618, but the 618 doesn't really make sense from a price perspective. And on these charts, you don't always respect the fibs as much. Maybe we should take, because that's from 2 cycles away, maybe we should take the high from this here, high to low. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So that would be 173%. If Bitcoin goes where I think it's going to go, which is 52%, 50%, 173 plus 50, that's about 225, let's say, 225%. I mean, that would put you up to here, so probably not a case to be made for that. Okay, so what we're looking for XRPBTC would probably be resistance here at this 40477 area or lower, resistance there, okay, which would imply if Bitcoin were to see prices at 143K or around 130 to 140K, that XRP could be as high as about 540 to 434. I think there's more of a case to be made for targets that are below the 1618 than at it, but you could get a little bit close to that, to be fair. Targets above $5 are definitely on the table for XRP by the end of January. So that's really all I got to say, guys. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.